Hi, Ollie.
Hi, Dom. We're just waiting for David to join, and I will be in the background for this. So welcome, everyone. If you're on, we're going to start in a couple of minutes. We're just waiting for David Havlin to join, who's going to be moderating today, and then I will disappear into the background because no one wants to see my face for very long.
Whatever you say.
Okay.
Hi, David.
Right. I'm going to bid my farewell. Enjoy. I'll be in the background.
Yeah.
Cheerio for now.
Okay.
David, I sent Paul this same link.
Yeah.
I forwarded it. Okay.
We'll give it a few minutes for everyone to join. Usually, I like to wait 5 minutes and then make sure we're happy to start from there.
Okay. So, man, I'm mirrored.
Mirrored.
So strange. So strange.
And we're recording, so everybody out there, that's I hope that's okay with everyone. So you'll be able to view the live stream later on when we post that publicly.
Okay. I'm gonna send just an SMS to Paul.
Sure.
Because I don't think he knows he has. Yeah, I was trying to get in through Hopin because I didn't get this Studio StreamYard link before.
Okay.
So I'm just sent it to Paul. Hopefully, he will join us. If he joins a bit later, you find a way to include him. And
yeah, sure, that's fine. Like we'll wait till for 5 minutes and then we can start the introduction. So
okay. So we are at 99%, man.
Excellent.
This mirror thing is
showing you.
So strange, man. I cannot even center myself here.
Not to worry.
No, I'm fine. You know that.
Yeah.
I presume you cannot wait for the year to end.
It's been a busy one. Yeah. I bet you too as well. Yeah.
I'm exhausted, man. I'm exhausted. Like I've done everything I was supposed to do. Now it's just to wait and see how where it ends up.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm happy. I'm happy how it's going so far. But okay.
Here we go. Hi, Paul. How are you doing?
Hi, Paul.
Hello. I'm fine. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm going to give it a few more minutes to let any sort of last minute participants join, just in case. That's great. It's a new system, so it's always hard to work out how to jump in and out.
One more online application.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and then someone calls you on Skype.
Yeah.
People are using that.
Yeah.
Fine. So
I think we can join.
I won't be sharing my presentation, right? This is just a Q&A, like easy.
Yeah. So what we normally do, I think we might as well get going, if that's all right with everybody. It's really good to get you, Domagoj, to give an overview of who you are and your company, really. Talk a little bit about Miret, and Paul as well, if you want to give a brief introduction to yourself, and then happy to go. I'll just basically say.
Yep.
On that note, I need to go on airplane mode.
It always happens. That's fine. But just to introduce myself, I'm David Havlin. I'm the funding manager, one of the funding managers at Funderbeam. So I've been helping Domagoj with his the funding round and the financial promotion. So I'll be hosting the Q&A. Anybody out there, just feel free to type any questions in the comment box, and I'll throw them out to the team. So that's essentially how it works. So Domagoj, do you want to give an introduction to yourself and Miret?
Hi everyone. I'm happy to be in this event as we're entering the final week of our campaign. We are at 99% at the moment, so we are very psyched about the last week that we're heading into. So I'm Domagoj. I'm the co-founder of Miret. I co-founded the company together with my brother, who is the one who actually had the spark and the idea. And for many years now, I would say, since the idea was born somewhere in 2015 or 2016, we've been dreaming of bringing this to the market and to the world. And in the last 2 years, we are gaining significant traction and growing as a company, growing as a startup. And we are very happy to have Funderbeam as a platform to help us include our community that made this brand through Kickstarter and through our e-commerce and through all of our advisors and friends. And we are happy to use Funderbeam to give an opportunity to all of those friends and stakeholders to become part of the company. I will give a more detailed overview of the product a bit later, but first of all, I would like to say hi to my dear friend and representative of our lead investors, Domagoj Angels, Mr. Paul Putz, to give a few sentences of an introductory in his very, very nice style that I really like.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Domagoj and Davin. Very nice and friendly introduction. Part of business, it's always nice that, let's say, the private life is also okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to give a couple of words. My name is Paul. I'm founder of Domagoj Angels. We are an angel network and financing platform based in Vienna. We have a Central European approach, started with German-speaking countries, of course, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary. And in the course of a cooperation with Funderbeam and its SEE subsidiary, we included a couple of weeks or 2 months ago Croatia as well, because we believe it's an interesting market and very close and business-wise very much connected with Austria. And one of the first opportunities have been shown to us by Funderbeam, which was Domagoj, his team and his ideas, which we liked from all our team from the very beginning. And therefore we are now serving as a lead investor. Why did we like the model? Why do we believe that Miret and its product has a very bright future, not only from the eco footprint they are already providing now, but as we, and I assume most of you are investors, we also have to look to the financial outlook, of course. So what we feel and what we see is are several elements in the business proposition which are appealing. One is it's a straightforward B2C sales model with excluding as many intermediaries as possible. We all know that the more are involved, the more small slices are taken away, and the profit margin goes back or is in some cases eliminated. That's something what they have thought, I think, very cleverly and realistically, that it's possible really B2C in the sense of the word, and not B2C as we would know it from other, I don't will name anybody, but other large e-commerce giants as we all know. That's number one. Number two, the appetite for sustainable products is ever growing. That's evident. I believe it started with a generation below me, more like my kids and their friends, and relatives, I know it for many years, how they are shopping. But meanwhile, also, let's say the older ones learned what is possible. And we all have a very, very sharp look about all features, what we are shopping. There is no Argentinian wine anymore. There is nothing what has to be shipped 2 weeks, where the product is eco, but the packaging is the same plastic as before, and things like this. So I think that's becoming not a niche, or it's evolving from a niche customer behavior towards a regular business. And Miret is, we believe, very well prepared to take benefit of this. And the third point I would like to outline is also as an investor. The development of Miret is very nice, and we all will appreciate it, hopefully for many years. But at the end, there needs to be somebody paying our money back, to be very open and frank. So that can be Domagoj and his brother, because they want to make it, they want to do it alone or find other options. So maybe they will be buying out the Funderbeam syndicate. Fine, no problem. It's kind of happening. But the most likely perspective is to take over by a competitor. May it be a direct competitor out of the shoe industry, or may it be another large company which wants to add a product like this and to build around a kind of a sustainable product offering.
Yeah.
We believe both groups are cash rich. That's visible in their balance sheets. To develop something what Miret developed in the last years would take large corporate years and cost, let's say, at least dozens of million euros. So an economic CFO will rather go for shopping, and maybe not shoes, but companies. So we believe also this perspective is very valid. There are many other reasons why we like the company or we like the team, but it's not, it's a presentation where I also should, or where I only should add a couple of sentences. And I think I've overdone already, and I will give now back to David.
No problem. Thank you for that, Paul. It sparked some questions, though. So you mentioned sustainable products throughout there. What does that mean to Miret? How do you define sort of sustainability?
Mm-hmm. So maybe I answer by going back to why we started this and how we started this.
Yeah.
So we are not two guys who wanted to do a shoe brand. We are brothers who we inherited a small shoe business from our late father, and we transformed it into a one-stop service for luxury sneaker brands from Paris and Amsterdam mostly. So our job was to fully develop luxury sneakers and organize production of these for high-level brands. And so by working in the industry, I'm personally an economist of entrepreneurship. My brother is an industrial designer. So his job was to develop these products, and to do this, he had to travel the world and visit suppliers, visit factories, and he saw the industry from the inside out. And very quickly, he realized that this industry is completely blind to the high ecological impact that it has on throughout the entire life cycle of the shoe production and the shoe consumption. So he had basically an epiphany, and he said that even though we are producing high-end luxury, really, really high-quality products, that he doesn't want to be a part of this problem, and that he wants to raise awareness of this problem by creating an alternative. And it started years ago when sustainable fashion wasn't even a coined term, where microplastics wasn't even a subject. So He started ahead of its time, ahead of sustainable fashion time, and slowly built this product, but in a unique way. He immediately decided that he doesn't want to use secondhand plastic, recycled plastics, that he wants to produce a product that is as close to nature as possible, to use materials which are sustainably grown, plant-based. And we use 9 plant materials, and we use New Zealand wool, which has the highest level of ecological certification available. It's cradle to cradle. I always like to joke that the sheep in New Zealand are treated better than people in Europe. So this is our unique approach: zero toxicity, zero plastics, and we are getting towards that goal. We are already at 97% bio-based content. And that is our unique approach to sustainability. But for something to be sustainable, it also has to, on one hand, be affordable. It has to be comfortable. It has to be appealing, and it has to be durable. And so it took a lot of time to find the perfect recipe of plants and plant-based materials that can meet all of these criteria. And we think that the market in this year has shown that it is a good approach. So in that sense, our approach is extreme. It's unique in the sense that we put ecology first and everything else second, and trying to find the perfect balance between all the other elements. Maybe it's important to say that the sustainable fashion is sustainability is an umbrella term, and sustainable fashion is an umbrella term with many different venues that are being pursued and explored by brands who are genuine, and there are also brands that are disgenuine and just using greenwashing as a marketing tool. So there are other brands who are exploring really good sustainable fashion venues. I would definitely have to mention Allbirds, the American brand that just made an IPO. Also the brand Veja, who has a holistic approach to their brand. But what makes us unique is the bio-based approach that we are using. Yeah. So for us, sustainability is being as close to nature as possible. On that note, as greenwashing is a huge issue in marketing today, it's visible on our Funderbeam page. In our roadmap, we have 2 things that are really important to us, and that's certification. And we are in the process of obtaining 2 high-level certificates. One is Ecotex for shoes, which is a pilot program. It hasn't been available, and Miret is one of the 5 companies in the world that will have Ecotex for shoes, and also OK Bio-based, which is certifying the level of bio-based materials that we are claiming to have. And this is really important. These are really important milestones in our company to actually scientifically verify our sustainability claims. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, a long answer, but I think it's crucial for our brand.
Yeah, that's interesting though. So greenwashing you mentioned. Can you define what that means? Though, is it?
Greenwashing, for me, it's a regular term. Greenwashing is is overstating or misrepresenting ecological or social responsibility claims that brands use about their product or their company. So it is an issue that's now being addressed at the highest level, even governmental level, where rules will be set in place. I think UK is leading the way there on actually limiting or regulating what you can claim about your product without having actual proof, and that is something that that's gonna be really important going forward.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. So it's very much a family business then. It's you and your brother. I'll try and pronounce his name. Havoy?
Almost. Yeah, don't worry about
it. So his experience really from seeing the industry really highlighted that it's just this massive gap in the market and potential to move into an environment.
Yeah, I would say it started as a dream, but we both have like feet on the ground, and we both feel that the only thing that can solve problems is the market. So you need to, on one hand, create the market, and this is why our mission actually as a company is not producing shoes. It's raising awareness of the negative eco impact of fashion, and by providing an alternative. So we are
So the value essentially is more than sort of monetary, is my feeling, what I'm getting from that.
Definitely. What we're trying to do is create genuine impact through our product. On one hand, measurable, like kilos of unsustainable materials that are not being used because of our shoes being used. But also we want to encourage other players in the industry to adopt at least some level of what we are propagating. So maybe it's important to mention that alongside the direct-to-consumer venue that we are pursuing, we will definitely be playing a bigger and bigger role in business to business as a model, where we want to put Miret at the level of a sort of a seal of approval, a seal of sustainability. I like to say like Gore-Tex for sustainability, and do collabs with other brands and other companies, like full featured collabs, where we can through that reach an extra revenue stream, but also a level of brand exposure, and actually on the impact side influence directly how some products are made.
Okay. So the audience that you're targeting is essentially sort of eco-conscious individuals that enjoy fashion. Or...
I would say that our early adopters were eco-conscious individuals, and I would say activists and people actively pursuing the green lifestyle and not having the footwear to fit that lifestyle. But those are the early adopters. Through price positioning alongside regular products, and at the same time being fashionable, being cool, being colorful, bringing color and design to sustainability, and not being like bland and earthy, but vibrant and full of color, will help. Will bring other customers inside, not just for the sake of sustainability, and that's the ultimate goal. To make sustainability mainstream, as Paul put it earlier, and also for us is expanding the market. So I think it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah. What typically is it? What's your biggest challenges been so far in the?
I would say so far it was the lack of access to funding in Croatia until I would say 2 or 3 years ago, where we were bootstrapping this project on the side and being frustrated that it seems to be going nowhere. But then at the same time, the global level of awareness rose rapidly. So the time came for the product, but also Croatia made huge leaps forward through VC funding and grants and accelerators and incubators coming in, and also situations like this, Danube Angels, an Austrian groupation entering Croatia. So it's getting easier to fund this, but still funding is the biggest challenge, because at this point in this business model, it's capital intensive. So when you look at our numbers last year, it's not about how much we sold, it's about how much we produced, because we sold almost everything that we produced. So demand is higher than the offer, than production. So this is why we're going to use most of this funding round to finance growth, production on one side, advertising on the other side. We had really good numbers in 2020, customer acquisition cost wise, and we already had like 13% of repeat customers after just one season. So we're gaining traction, but in order to expand, we definitely need capital to expand. So most of the money will be used for growth, almost 2/3, but the rest will be used for developing new styles, new products, realizing the B2B collaborations, and the certification that I mentioned earlier.
Okay, so the funding is going towards growth, but where specifically will you be spending it? In marketing, or is it more on the production side to increase?
It's a fine balance between the two. It's a fine balance between the two. We have our projections of based on our return on advertising spend statistics, customer acquisition cost statistics. So we know how much money in average we need to put aside in marketing to sell a pair of shoes. So it's a fine balance between production and advertising to reach maximum result. It would be counterproductive to overmarket something that you don't have on stock, or produce too big of a stock and then have no money left for marketing. So it's a fine tune between those two. And I think we in 2020 was especially for us like a training year for growth, and all of the points outlined in the roadmap available on our Funderbeam financial promotion page are already in motion. So we are not waiting for this round to end to start developing new styles or to start planning production. Production is deeply, I would say, we are almost ready to start producing, and we are definitely making headway already on all of our roadmap points. So yeah, we're not sitting and waiting for this round to finish. We are one step ahead. I always like to be one step ahead, for sure.
Juggling a few things there then. You mentioned you're quite capital intensive. Is that referring to the production side, or?
Yeah, definitely, because there are positives and negatives about doing the D2C. The positive is that we achieve a high gross margin. So our average gross margin in the last year was 65%, which is really, really good. But on the other side, you need to stock the goods that you plan to sell. In that sense, it's capital intensive. It's not capital intensive anymore on the side of development or some basic structuring of the company. It's about production and marketing, because we are basically turning into a marketing company. Now after the product design, I'll just to clarify something. We are lean in the sense that we don't produce in-house. We don't have a factory, and we don't plan to have a factory. We have the expertise. We have the knowledge to supervise, organize production, organize logistics. But we have creation partner companies, shoe factories that are able to scale our production significantly. So we will leave that to shoe producing professionals. The rest is up to us.
Great. And there's a question come through. How do you see what do you see as the most probable exit scenario for small investors through Funderbeam? And do you have a time frame roughly for what that may look like?
Yeah, Paul also addressed that in his intro, and I think he nailed it. The most likely scenario and the most probable scenario is exactly what Paul said: is that we be acquired by competition or a B2B partner. We are opening these B2B partnerships. To develop this kind of product from scratch, to brand it, to really pinpoint the key value proposition is a time-consuming, really expensive process, especially for an established company that's more corporate and slow to react. There are a lot of shoe brands in Europe and across the world who haven't been diligent about this market change, and definitely a fear of missing out. I would say a panic of missing out is going to set in for most of them, and then we will be an easy solution for them to actually enter this market and not be left in the past, you know. So that's the most highly likely scenario. Other likely scenarios is an IPO on the Zagreb Stock Exchange. As people maybe know, Funderbeam in Southeastern Europe is partly owned by Zagreb Stock Exchange, and it is in their direct interest to have for us to grow so we can be listed on the stock exchange at one point. A stock buyout as a less likely scenario might be an option if the situation arises that the future institutional investor, as a VC fund or a private equity fund, wants to let's say clean the cap table and buy out or make a condition for us to buy out buy back the shares from Funderbeam. That's not my preferred exit scenario. We as founders are really keen to do an exit, but before we do an exit, I would say it's reasonable to have it in 3 to 5 years. We want to stay part of the company. We want to make sure that the mission is kept. This is why we're going to be also implementing B Corp certification and doing a sort of a mission lock, so nobody can come in and make Miret an unsustainable product brand. Just on a side note. So yeah, that would be ideal to incorporate with a brand who has their global distribution and that will keep our values and add us to their brand gamma. I would say.
Okay.
I hope I was clear.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for elaborating. That's great. Because you mentioned your competition as well, like two of them being Allbirds and Vija. How do you see yourself differing from them? Do you want to elaborate?
I think I addressed it already before, and I can maybe further elaborate. We put ecology first.
Yeah.
That's it. So all our development decisions based on the product are based in the ecological footprint of the entire production chain, the supply chain, the materials itself, and that's our primary pillar. For Allbirds, their target market is athleisure. So it actually sport exercising footwear, and they focus primarily on comfort, and then they go as ecological as possible, not to hamper this sporty thing that they're targeting. Veja, I would say, is not so involved in the ecology of materials. They're using natural leather, they're using oil-based materials, but they have a holistic approach to all the other elements so they really take care of where do they source the materials. If they're sourcing materials from third world countries, they're trying to assure that the labor there and the conditions are up to code. Also, they're really keen on the impact side of the company. I would compare them to Patagonia, which can be a role model to everyone. So I'm not at all saying that these approaches are not good. I think these two companies made sustainable footwear, put it on the map for sure. There are many other brands emerging, but I would say that for smaller brands, it's basically about using secondhand plastic, recycled plastic, which I personally think is a moral hazard. I don't know. An article was just recent. I read an article where the price of secondhand plastic is shooting through the roof because it's really cool to use secondhand plastic. So but we want to avoid using the oil-based materials whatsoever. What's also maybe interesting for us is that all of our materials are sourced, unlike the competition, all of our materials are sourced from the EU. So we have 16 suppliers from 9 EU countries. So our supply chain is regional, and it proved to be crucial. We did it because these are companies that big companies that saw our vision and really supported us along the way. But it proved to be crucial in these pandemic times where these companies we had no supply problems in fulfilling our Kickstarter backers in June and July 2020, producing our autumn, spring, and now autumn collection. Everything was in time, no supply problems whatsoever. So this is something that sets us apart, is the regional consumption, regional supply. So on the market side, maybe it's also important to say that these brands, Allbirds is definitely big in the US, but not so big in the Europe. We are at this moment targeting more the European customer. So at this point, I think 70% of our customers are outside of Croatia, and I would say almost all of them are Europe based. So this is our target market, and we'll be in the next year mostly. We'll be preparing to expand to other markets as the US market and Southeast Asia, but I think 2020 will still our focus will remain in Europe mostly.
Okay, thank you. What are your plans for future funding? Do you have a strategy moving forward before you get to there?
Yeah, definitely. So we could maybe I need to say why Funderbeam. I think believe it or not, in 2018, I had a first contact with Funderbeam because I said one day I want to put this project on Funderbeam. I know it sounds corny, but it's true. Why Funderbeam? I think we are a public company anyway, very transparent, and Kickstarter community built us, and we wanted to use the opportunity to allow our community to become part of the company in this sense, in the investment sense, early on, because we felt that once we get a VC funding, significant VC funding, it will not be possible anymore. So this is one of the reasons why we wanted to utilize our community, but give the opportunity to the community to participate. And also we are somewhere between seed funding and round A. So we gained traction last year, but not so much traction that we can actually pursue a huge round. So this round that we're raising on Funderbeam will allow us to hopefully scale significantly, and not to give exact prognosis for next year, to help us scale significantly so we can actually be VC fundable for the next round. So we plan to actually start preparing for the next round as soon as this campaign finishes, because I think preparing for the round means meeting your goals and ticking all the boxes on our roadmap and achieving milestones. So we are already in contacts with private equity funds, with VC funds, and we are opening new venues. So I think our next round will be a VC round. But also I want to say that we are also finishing up on something really important. We are finishing up on our life cycle and CO2 footprint analysis, and also on our impact thesis, which will allow us to open up to the realm of impact investors, impact funds, which I think might fit our story quite nicely. So multiple venues are already being prepared.
That's great. So you mentioned your plans for the future. What do you consider is the most risk? So obviously we need to discuss about the risks. So do you want to elaborate on that?
Of course, the number one issue is financial. Being first, if the sources of financing to Croatia are still limited to compared to our competition. So it really depends on how much we achieve our goals and our business plan that we set out. So definitely there is the risk of supply. As we haven't had problems, but this doesn't mean that problems in supply will not arise in the next month or two. And definitely it's something. It's a complex product. It's much complex than one might think, and just missing one or two components can definitely cause delays and make us miss out on an important part of the selling season. That's for sure. So I would say the risk of the coronavirus is still here, and people are definitely not consuming. It's not that people are not buying shoes, but they're not consuming these shoes at a normal pace. So if you can remind me of any other risk, please feel free to remind me. There are definitely risks. So
Yeah, so yeah, early stage investments contain risk. So if anybody is more interested in finding out more, you can go to the Funderbeam platform and view the Miret page and scroll down to the risks, and they're all there. So if you want to have a,
it's definitely clearly outlined there. Early stage startups can meet a lot of risks on the journey, but yeah, hopefully we will be able to mitigate those.
Yeah. So if somebody is interested in Miret, what in your product, what do you do? Where should they go to?
They should go to our website, www.miret.co. We didn't have money for the M. Maybe we'll buy it now after this round. And that's our web shop, and our products are readily available there. We are shipping worldwide. At this moment, we are pretty much out of stock because it's end of the season. But we are planning to restock very, very soon. So if there's not something you're available in your size, subscribe, and we will let you know as soon as we have shoes back in stock.
Oh, great! That's wonderful. Thank you. If there's anybody any questions out there, if you want to, now's the time to sort of jump in if you want. I'll give them a few minutes. Domagoj, is there anything else you'd like to add in the meantime, or?
No, I would like to thank everyone who participated in the campaign so far. Not just the people who made their indications, but people who liked and shared. And we got a huge PR boost in Croatia. So I'm thankful for everyone supporting this project for years now, and especially at this really important moment for us.
Oh, brilliant! Good. I'm not seeing any questions jump through, so. Well, thank you so much for your time. I've appreciated that. It's been good fun. We'll post this discussion on our site, so investors will be able to review and see it again. But yeah, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, speak to you soon. Have a good Christmas. Bye.
Bye.